Well, don't that look fun? So, the DAWNTRAIL Fan Festival was last week, or something like that. I've been looping really badly. Again, I'm off the wagon. My unhealthy habits aside, the FanFest was really good. I think it was great. You know, we saw the Terral zones. They looked pretty comfy, very vacation-esque. The extended trailer was amazing, you know. The Warrior of Light looked, you know, hubba hubba, you know, got the biddies out and everything. And of course, who could forget Yoshi P spending like 5 hours on the graphical fidelity of Lalafell. I mean, that was pretty top content. I think it was a pretty good meme. I liked it a lot. It was very good. I think the big cherry on top for that whole thing was how in-depth the job trailer was. I think it was probably one of the most like shrewdly produced job trailers, because it really felt like, and I could be a conspiracy theorist here, don't discount that, but it really felt like they were giving us little tidbits of secrets that we could like suss out of how the job is going to work and how the design philosophy is going to be. I mean, they did literally give us a big title card about how the job would be, but I really enjoyed that aspect of the job trailer. Even though personally I was more in the Corsair camp. I was like a lot more in the Corsair camp. Haha. However, even as a Corsair Chad myself, okay, trust me, I love pirates. I really love pirates. I did find I saw a lot of comments, you know, on the old YouTubes about Viper, and it was a bit less hype than I am. I mean, I saw a lot of apathetic antis, a lot of pessimistic polls, a lot of crestfallen Charlies, if you would. You know, most of them just saying things along the lines of, you know, it's just gonna be a 1, 2, 3 job into the, you know, twin blade burst phase Reaper kind of thing. You know what I mean? But of course, obviously, I disagree with that opinion because, you know, I'm making the video. I think it's gonna play completely different than the other jobs, the other melee at least that are out right now. And you know, I not like I can blame anyone for thinking that it will just end up playing like all the other melee, because, you know, if you look at the current state of the jabs right now, a lot of the jobs are kind of centered around that kind of burst phase. Super fast, DPS, eat ass, go into your 60-second combo, your 120-second combo, you know, you just hitting shit, you know? Which, hey, it might play like that, you know, but I don't think it's going to be exclusively tied to the twin blade form, and that's the crux of this video that I'd like to share with you right now, here, today, in this time, in this era. So, let's begin the Viper job trailer breakdown. All right, and just starting off, we can see right here that this is a debuff, very clearly, obviously. So if you didn't know, or if you just, you know, skipped your generalized FF14 homework, whenever you see this sort of animation on the enemy, they're getting debuffed. Now, you're only really going to see 2 types of debuffs on a weapon skill. It's either going to be the opponent will take more damage from you type of debuff, like Shadow of Death on Reaper, or you're going to see something like a dot, like Higanbana for Samurai or Chaos Thrust for Dragoon. There are other sorts of debuffs like Wildfire, which is like a time damage thing on Machinist, but those are usually tied to abilities and not weapon skills. It is interesting though, because our next skill is a buff, which you can tell by, if you zoom in right here, you can see the yellow aura of power that courses through us when we get a buff. On top of this, it also has the combo green spark thingies that you get, indicating that it is in fact, you know, the second string of the combo from the debuff portion, or the first skill used in the video. Now, personally, I got no idea what the fuck this buff could be, because, you know, it could be anything. If I had to guess, if the first part is a debuff that just increases the damage that you do to the enemy, this would probably be an attack speed debuff of some kind, or like a, you know, a skill speed, a skill recharge thingy. It make you go fast, basically, would be my guess. But again, it's interesting that it is a non-positional, because it gets the green spark combo bonus because as you'll see later on, this implies that the other skills in the combo chain are in fact positionals, as I can demonstrate right now. Now, both of these two skills are cool as fuck. They just look amazing, you know, very nimble swordplay, you know, nothing really to say here. However, as you'll notice, they lack the green sparks that the second combo skill had, which to me implies that they have some sort of positional attached to them. Because if they were a skill that, you know, just had some sort of combo bonus, but didn't have a positional, they would get the green sparks. But they don't have the green sparks. You know, the green sparks are key to this whole equation. So at the very least, we can kind of assume that Viper's going to have, you know, the rear and the side positionals at the very least. For these two skills, no idea which one they're going to be, but I would make a pretty big guess that, you know, those two are going to be their token positionals. Now, I do think that this all gets thrown out the window if they aren't combos, but I think it's a pretty safe bet to guess that these are like the third and the fourth combo in the string, okay, you know? And this is why we're here, my fellow 14 players, this moment right here. Now, if you will look closely, you can see that the Catboy, our Catboy Viper here, is switching into his combined sword state. But he's using an ability here and not a weapon skill to do that. Now, I think that's interesting by itself, but what's really interesting, and the reason why I made this video really, is because, as you can see, there's no buff aura on him as he's switching. Now, what makes this significant to me, at least when it comes to the combined state, is the fact that because it doesn't give a buff, I feel very strongly that this isn't going to be like some sort of buffed or enhanced state, or install, like I like to call them, because install is a really cool term and we should be stealing from fighting games more, like Warrior or like Reaper, when they enter these empowered states where they have like a limited amount of charges or a limited amount of time to execute certain weapon skills, right? Like for Reaper, when they enter their Enshroud state, they gain what's known as Lemure stacks, which they can use on skills like Void Reaping or Cross Reaping, but the moment they lose all of those Lemure stacks, they exit Enshroud. The same principle applies for Warrior when it comes to Inner Release. The moment it uses all of its Inner Release stacks, you're gone out of that state, and you know, you don't have that enhanced buff from Inner Release any longer. I don't think the combined mode for Viper is going to work that way, simply because it doesn't have the buff indicator that, you know, all of those jobs have. And I think what's really interesting and what might turn this job on its head is that this is an ability cooldown. Now, generally, ability cooldowns aren't on the global cooldown. This means they can be weaved in between weapon skills. This usually means that, you know, this is kind of how Final Fantasy XIV has like a very high APM kind of job feeling. You know, it's not just the global cooldown, it's the global cooldown with the off global cooldowns. But Ninja, a job that is also a scouting job, has a skill called Ninjutsu, which is an ability that's on the global cooldown. Now, I'm not going to draw wild conclusions and say that this will function similar to Ninjutsu, but I do think that since they're both scouting jobs, it's a possibility. And also, I think it might be a little bit crazy if you have to like swap into this stance in the middle of a GCD and then like transfer that GCD into a combined state mode or some, you know, crazy stuff, which, like, I mean, this next weapon skill kind of maybe implies is gonna be a thing that happens. And here we have it. This is probably the final skill, and it's also a weapon skill. It gives you a buff just right off the bat. That's something that you can instantly notice, which is, you know, again, very interesting. But it doesn't have the combo sparks. Now, this threw me off for a loop for a really long time. I thought it just meant that, hey, this is probably a positional, but you get a buff from it, which of course is normal because, you know, you get resources and stuff regardless of positionals, unless they're stated. But then I got to thinking, what if this is actually the first combo but altered? What if switching your stance into the combined mode actually alters the rest of your abilities? Now, this is, again, me just speculating, but I think based off of this next skill, that's probably going to be a core function of the kit. Also, no idea what the buff could be. It could be anything. It could be a resource. It could be, you know, gives you 5 billion damage. The buff could be anything. I just think it's interesting that you get a buff. I'll try to string everything together into like a more cohesive, you know, conclusion once I'm done with everything. And then finally right here, we have whatever the fuck this is. Now, in my opinion, this blue like burst aura phase is probably going to be its Reaper stack mode, because we can see here it's going to be really fucking hard to see, but you can see right here that not only is it a weapon skill when it activates, but it gives you a buff. Hold on, this is really fucking hard to see, Square Enix. Calm down with the effects. Okay, this is a weapon skill animation, and on top of that you can just see a little bit of the buff aura, like right here in this generalized direction. Like, you know, if you squint really hard, you know, it's like looking for aliens. You just gotta squint a little hard. Now, if we look here, we can, you know, again, clearly see it's a buff, but also I might be tweaking a bit because there's this mysterious dot here, so this could be an auto attack, but it looks like it almost does damage to the fucking Marlboro. Now, again, this could be just an auto attack, but I think it would be pretty cool if this was a part of your AoE rotation. If it worked in both AoE and single target, you know, we love consolidation here. We don't like button bloat. Button bloat bad. Fix Shoha, please. And now after that, we see in this mode, it looks more like our traditional install state, because as he goes to attack, you can see he gets a buff. Again, all the blue shit is all around him, but you can see that he does get a buff. Now, the reason I said before, I think you're going to be switching into your combined state a lot, is because this is obviously kind of the burst phase, you know, the in-shroud phase, the in-release phase, but he's doing it while he's uncombined. I don't think when the game launches, that's going to be how it's supposed to be used. Similarly to how during the Reaper trailer, when they were in Shroud, they were pretty much just spamming, I think it was Void Reaping. They're only spamming one form of attack here. I think they're going to be spamming the combined version instead. That's what leads me to believe that combining it into the Twin Blade will probably alter or change your weapon skills. And then this is just, God, it's so fucking cool. It's just cool, man. You know, just edgy. It's cool, you know? Like, listen, you put a pirate coat on this guy, like a pirate hat, you're not telling me this isn't a swashbuckler job. You're just not. You can't. You cannot convince me. It's literally impossible. Anyway, I'll wrap this thing up with a final summary of my thoughts. All right. Okay, that was a lot of talking. Okay. So, this is going to be the part where I summarize my thoughts as promised and try to make things a little bit more cohesive. So, as I said before, the first and the second combo are debuffs and buffs, respectively. This on top of the fact that Viper, when it enters its Twin Blade mode, doesn't gain some sort of like buff indicator that it's entering a separate state or an enhanced state. This leads me to conclude that combining will be something that just naturally happens or forms as some sort of natural mechanic throughout the kit. As I said before in the breakdown, it'll probably be something like you combine, it changes your weapon skills, and then as you go through your combo, you will be juggling, probably maintaining your debuff, maintaining your buff, and then switching back into your combined state to do some sort of enhanced attack. I think that probably makes the most sense to me personally. I mean, in the title card, it literally says, the Viper alternates between pressuring enemies with swift strikes by their twin blades and dealing mighty blows with their joined weapon. So I think it's, you know, pretty safe to say it's gonna be more alternating. I feel like alternating will be definitely the focus of the job. And again, I'm pretty secure in this knowledge because it doesn't get an enhanced or a buff state like Reaper or like Warrior. And we don't really have states like that, you know, enhanced states that don't... Oh, wait, right, lol. Though I will say there is one little snag in this little theory of mine, unfortunately. There is one state that you get that is a buff state that doesn't give you a buff indicator, and that would be Dragoon's Life of the Dragon. Now, if you aren't an Ish Guardian, here's how Life of the Dragon works, okay? You get this move, it's called Mirage Dive. You use Mirage Dive twice, then you use this thing called Gyroskogel, and that enters you into Life of the Dragon. You get all this cool red stuff, and you are now channeling the power of Space Dragons, Space Lizards, as one would. You get a move called Star Diver, and you get another move called Nestron, which is an enhanced version of Garrus Skogul. Now, it's very possible that Viper could pretty much function like this. It could give its own Life of the Dragon state, since there's no like real buff indicator for Life of the Dragon besides, well, the red shit all around you. I still largely disagree with it functioning kind of like this, like a pseudo bursty state, but I'll explain that finer point in just a bit more. But there are strings of logic that you could like attach together that would make it make sense if it did function like Life of the Dragon. I mean, for instance, Dragoon's Disembowel used to work like Shadow of Death. It used to just give the enemy a debuff that increased the amount of damage that you did, but that was taken out, and now it just, you know, increases the amount of damage that the Dragoon does instead. So I guess you could say it would work like that, or it could work like that, since they're also reworking Dragoon this expansion. So they could be taking out Life of the Dragon from Dragoon and giving that same sort of system over to Viper. But I don't think, even if that were kind of the case, I think from what I've said and like from what I've seen and from the concept, you know, the concept image itself, it pretty clearly states I want you to alternate between the combined state and then the uncombined state. So it very much wants you to be swapping, I think. I think swapping is the core of this job, as I said before. I don't think it'll be as restrictive as Life of the Dragon is, where you're going in and you're doing, Garrus Skoguls and then you're fucking Star Diver, But let's not forget, I have innate bias. So, I wanted to play like that. I wanted to be a fast job where, you combine your swords and you go in and you eat ass and you go fast and it's fun, But it wouldn't be the first time you should be humbled the shit out of me. Oh my gosh, Hashafon's protecting me. Oh no. And with that, I'm pretty much done. Yeah, I'm done. The video's done. Woo! If you stuck around long enough to get to this portion of the video, thank you for watching. This is my first video, so sorry if it's kind of scuffed. Haha. It's rustic, like that grilled cheese Gordon Ramsay made. High quality stuff, mwah. But yeah, I'm very hyped for DAWNTRAIL. I'm looking forward to the FANFEST, and Jesus Christ, it's like next week. Haha. But I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to Viper. I think, like I said before, it's a pretty hype job. It fills a niche that people have been wanting for a while. We've never really had a job that just like straight up switches stances like that alters weapon skills in between of combos. I mean, you've had something like stance swapping kind of with tanks, but if you were good in the past, you never really needed to stance swap. But we've never really had it with any sort of DPS job. I could be wrong. Someone in the comment section, tell me if I'm wrong or not. Also, hi, post-production, to insert this really random rant. Has anyone ever noticed that like every single first trailer for like a job trailer is always a Catboy? It's like Red Mage was a Catboy, Gunbreaker was a Catboy, Sage was a Catboy, and now Viper is a Catboy. They're fucking breeding out of control. Also, people keep saying it's Viper is a Kirito or like a Zidane or a Gabron's job. No, it's Lady Maria. It's Lady Maria. It's always a Bloodborne reference. It's always a Bloodborne reference, okay? But in general, yeah, I'm very hyped for DAWNTRAIL. I'm hyped to see where the dev team takes us, I mean, what I've seen so far is really good. I can't wait to see the new exploratory zone. Apparently it's going to be like a big fuckfest, which is going to be, great. Can't wait for the fucking Final Fantasy 11 raid. I didn't even play Final Fantasy 11, and I'm hyped for it. Just because I hope the gear looks really good. And all in all, the story seems like, I mean, I don't know where it could go, but seems like it'll be interesting. And I can't wait for the next FanFest one, see what the caster is, It's going to be really hype. It'll be really hype. But overall, I think I'm tired of walking to the end, and I'm ready to set sail for the dawn, baby. Yeah. Anyway, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, 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 bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.